Good day, everyone. A blessed Friday to all of you. This is Pastor Marlon filling in for Pastor Sumrall, and welcome to our morning devotions. For our devotional thought today, allow me to share with you one basic action of worship, and that is the lifting of our hands in worship. Let us understand from the scriptures, why do we lift our hands in prayer and worship? In our reading today, David says in Psalms 141 verse 2, it says, "Let my prayer be counted as an incense before you, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice." So David here says, when he lift up his hands in worship, when he lift up his hands in prayer, it is like an evening sacrifice. Now, what is the significance of evening sacrifice? Now, you need to understand when David is saying evening sacrifice here, he's remembering or recalling the principle that was stated in the Bible. Back then in Exodus chapter 29 verse 41 to 43, it says, "The other lamb you shall offer at twilight," that's the evening sacrifice, "and shall offer it with grain offering and its drink offering." It's all about worship here. As in the morning, for a pleasing aroma. A food offering to the Lord, it shall be a regular burnt offering throughout your generations, at the entrance of the tent of meeting before the Lord, where I will meet with you to speak to you there. There I will meet with the people of Israel, and it shall be sanctified by my glory. So when David says, "Let the lifting up of my hands be like an evening sacrifice," David is actually inviting God, inviting the presence of God in his life. It is actually an invitation to meet with God at the temple as he promised in Israel. David is actually saying, "God, may this be like an evening sacrifice. Lord, when I lift up my hands, it is actually an invitation for me to meet with you. I want your presence." Remember that song, "We Invite Your Presence. You're welcome here in our midst." When David is actually lifting up his hands, he's inviting God in his life. Now let's understand more about this act of worship, the lifting up of holy hands. Paul talks about the lifting up of holy hands in 1 Timothy 2 verse 8. It says here, "I desire then that in every place men should pray, lifting up holy hands without anger or quarreling." Holy hands here represents a life that is consecrated and dedicated to God. Psalms 24 verse 4, "He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not lift up his soul to what is false and does not swear deceitfully." It is also a life presented to God as a living sacrifice. You can see that in Romans chapter 12 verse 1. It is a life of holiness. 1 Peter 1 verse 15 to 16. It is a prayer for mercy and a cry for help. Psalms 28 verse 2, "Hear the voice of my pleas for mercy when I cry for help, when I lift up my hands toward you, your most holy sanctuary." It is an act of adoration and worship, recognizing who God is in our lives. Remember Sister Bev's teaching about worship? It is actually when you lift up holy hands in prayer, you're actually extending it. It's a barak to the Lord. It's a worship. Psalms 134 verse 2, it says, "Lift up holy hands, your holy hands into the holy place and bless the Lord." You're baraking God. You're blessing God. Genesis 14 verse 22, "But Abraham said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hands to the Lord, God most high, possessor of heaven and earth." Psalm 63 verse 4, "So I will bless you as long as I live. In your name I will lift up my hands." And David says it is actually like an evening sacrifice. In our reading today, let me read it to you again. Psalms 141 verse 2. "Let my prayer be counted as an incense before you, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice." So when we lift up holy hands in prayer and in worship, we're actually lifting up ourselves to the Lord, and we are recognizing that He is the source of everything that we have in life. So beloved, may I encourage you in your devotions, in your prayer, in our services. When you attend service tonight, lift up holy hands in worship. I encourage you to worship God. Don't be ashamed. Don't hesitate lifting up your hands to God in worship. Because when you do that, you're actually inviting Him in your life. You're meeting with the presence of the Holy God. God bless you. See you in the services this weekend.